Hello, hello, good evening. Sino man nandito na? Julian is first. What up, Julian?
Hey,
D Prime, what up?
good evening, everybody. Nakamanman naman ako sa comsec natin. Just Emil is not here.
What up, John?
Weekly wrestling talk kicking off in 3 minutes and change. Lighthouse here tonight. Turn on your roll.
Yeah, it is what it is. Stan is
Yep.
still in Taiwan.
Yep.
Emil has internet issues, so yeah.
So, join us, guys. Wala naman tayo ng likes, guys.
Yeah, sure, go for it.
Send those likes right now. Actually, ako, nagpapalike ako ngayon.
Yeah, a lot of interesting things, John. Well, interesting because we know that they're obviously building up to Callum Newman versus Will Ospreay, but yeah. Doc G, what up? Oh yeah, happy 4th of July, everybody. France, hello.
May the 4th.
Yep, 4th of July, May the 4th.
May pa lang eh, tumalong ka ng dalawang buwan eh. May the 4th be with you guys.
May the 4th be with everybody. I was distracted for a moment. Sorry.
Kumain kayo sa Burger King. Buli kayo ng mugs.
Yeah, so it looks good.
Medyo sold out na yung mga mugs eh. So if you guys know where to find one.
Yeah, 2 days of Dontaku. I'm only just gonna catch the main events. I caught the main event yesterday, but today.
All right, 20 seconds.
Please hit my music and yeet!
My name is Colin Cash Money Cannon.
What do we want to talk about?
Hey, this is the Cosmic Cactus, Paul London.
You're still just a kid. Hello, WWE Universe in the Philippines. This is Charlotte.
Because mommy is always on top.
This is Lola Vice. I love you so much.
They love my Latina heat.
What's going on? This is Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed.
You are CM Punk.
We are pretty deadly. Yes, boy. Yes, boy.
To say his name.
Say his name and he appears.
Stan C, the voice of Philippine wrestling, University of the Philippines, Diliman.
Romoran, the fancy dad, University of the Philippines, Diliman.
Chino Liao, Best Gout Machine, San Sebastian College Recoletos, College of St. Benilde, De La Salle University, International Academy of Film and Television.
Email linked, small forward, the Ateneo de Naga University.
When you're listening,
and you're listening
to the Wrestling
Podcast. And you're listening to the Wrestling Podcast.
To the Wrestling Podcast.
Wrestling Podcast.
On our Wrestling Podcast.
The Wrestling Podcast.
You're listening to the Wrestling Podcast. Yeah.
You're now watching and listening to the longest running weekly episodic Filipino wrestling podcast. This is the Wrestling Podcast. It's a crazy weekend and it's a bit of a crazy Monday, but it's just me and Chino Liao joining you tonight for a lot of talk to be done. But since dalawa lang kami, I don't think we're gonna take up a lot of your time. But yes, there are things we do have to talk about. Yes. But how was your weekend, Gino?
Good, nice and relaxing. I hope everybody got time to rest and recuperate during the long weekend. So medyo mahaba yung weekend natin. Sana na-enjoy natin yan. I got to do shows. I got to rest up. I got to, spend time with my family. All good here sa Quezon City kahit mainit.
Yeah, same then. I had a pretty relaxing weekend. I wasn't expecting it, but it was a nice long weekend. It wasn't as nice because a lot of crazy news happened, and we got to talk about it. But before we talk about it, let's plug the Patreon and Gank real quickly. Patreon.com/wrestling podcast and ganknow.com/wrestling2xpod. Please support us so we can continue to pay Jasper and keep putting out this weekly content for you guys, whether we're releasing interviews with your favorite wrestlers like Super P, who we just released earlier today. If you haven't seen that episode, go check that out after this live stream. It's on YouTube and Spotify and wherever you get your podcasts. Or, your usual wrestling talk that we have here every live stream, every Monday and Thursday. So as low as $5, mga 300 pesos na yan nowadays kasi thank you so much, government. But still, I think it's a really, really meager fraction of, what you guys are paying or what you guys are making every month if you're listening to this and watching wrestling. So kahit 1 month man yan, kahit ilang buwan, if you like what we do, please consider supporting us. Again, patreon.com/wrestling podcast. For Filipinos, it's ganknow.com/wrestling2xpod. It has a credit card, debit card, and GCash e-wallets available as payment options. So go check that out. So much methods for you to go try and support us if you enjoy what we do. So thank you to everyone then who is currently supporting us on our Patreons, on our patrons. I mean. They were able to watch the Super P interview live as it was happening last Thursday. So that was one of the perks that you can get by being a wrestling podcast supporter. So go check that out.
Also, if you guys are looking to sponsor us, sponsor an episode, sponsor a play and dating, so you want to sponsor an interview, you can reach out to us on our professional email, hello.wrestlingpodcast@gmail.com, spelled exactly as it sounds. Again, hello.wrestlingpodcast@gmail.com. Reach out to us if you have a brand, if you have a product you want us to shill. We'll be more than happy to do that. Syempre sa tamang presyo, because you know how it is, right? So all that and more at hello.wrestlingpodcast.com. Also on YouTube, please keep hitting the like, keep sharing the stream, keep commenting. It lets the algorithm know that, we are here in the YouTube space and brings us more eyes on the For You pages of people. So please keep doing that good stuff. And keep subscribing as well para makahit kami ng, where are we at now? 500 subscribers? Road to
No,
500, diba?
road to 500, yeah. So we're
Yeah,
at
road to 500.
410, 411.
Yeah,
So,
so
konti na
konti
lang.
na lang.
500 na kami.
Yeah, konti na lang.
Yeah. Thanks to everyone who subscribed then for, the weekly content. All right. Speaking of weekly content, it's time to talk about what happened over the weekend. So, more releases happened, but this time I think it's more clear that some of these are releases, but also some of these are mutual decisions
Mutual,
that have been made. So, the biggest news is the New Day, widely suspected or theorized to be WWE lifers, have agreed to part ways with the company, and this is because they were reportedly offered a new pay structure that would have paid them less than what they felt they were worth. So the news says that they had signed a extension last year, which would have seen them with the company throughout 2030. And then I believe TKO wanted to restructure that deal and give them less money than they were making or that they were promised to be making. So they said F that and just left. They asked for their release and it was granted by the company. So that's two less wrestlers, but they are big deals because they have been, through thick and thin, they have survived the initial branding that they were given by Vince McMahon. They succeeded despite that, and now their WWE careers come to an ignoble end because somebody at TKO did not feel that they were worth their contract. So, all right, what do you feel about this, Chino?
It's,
As
uh, we were talking about WWE lifers here, and sila, they were at the top of the list. This to me hits as hard as when Nick Nemeth left the WWE, because these are the names that you associate with the company. And when you read about how things went down allegedly and kung bakit umalis si New Day, I can't help but feel like corporate mismanagement is to blame here. That umaaligid na naman yung mga, the things that you don't expect to be issues are actually becoming issues now. Diba, we saw corporate rear its ugly head during one of the day one main events, WrestleMania, and then now we have this, diba? Wherein they are not prioritizing the lifers, so to speak, in the company, and instead using it as an excuse to pay them less. That to me is what doesn't sit well with this whole situation, because it's not even a wrestling company anymore. If that's the case, if they have something that devalues almost your talent that's been there through thick and thin, then it's kind of hard for me to say that maybe maybe just the way things are and all that. Maybe it's hard for me to defend the WWE if that's the way it is, because truthfully, I am a fan of the New Day. These are three guys who were on the verge of being fired, and then really made it set out for themselves, really put themselves over, and really tried to make themselves a thing, and they became a thing. Almost to the point where 2/3 of them are former world champions. So it's just funny and sad that the one guy who's left is the guy that can't even wrestle. He's Big E is there, and I love E, but he's the guy that can't wrestle. And the two guys that can actually go, they just left because they feel like it wasn't worth their time anymore, and that's just sad.
yeah, it's pretty funny how things work out now. Like, you got guys, you got wrestlers like Paige who come back, and you got guys like Royce Keys who signed with WWE because they feel that it's a better place for them to be at than AEW. And then you got guys like the New Day who are leaving and legit institution na sila dun eh, diba? And I don't feel too strongly about it because I feel that WWE wasted the New Day's heel turn, and I felt that they didn't deserve to be there after uh they couldn't really find a place in that tag team division in 2.5 hours of Raw. Diba? So uh I feel that it should be easy to have New Day be as ubiquitous in your tag team division as the Usos, but after a while that kind of stopped. So I don't mind them going elsewhere to try out their luck in other companies, to try out and see what Tony Khan possibly could do for them. Because the rumors are also saying that a lot of people in AEW, especially some big names, I'm sure your guys like Claudio Castagnoli, Adam Cole, right?
Sila Dean Ambrose.
Yeah, yeah, my bad. I'm sure that they're already pulling for the new day, given how they have worked extensively with them in the past, diba? Kasi the New Day are not just nobodies, diba? So I do want to see those opportunities for them. But at the same time, it is pretty interesting because if you can get two lifers in the New Day to leave, then that doesn't really bode well for how things are being managed in WWE, diba? Parang
nobody's safe, nobody's immune.
yeah, if I were one of the new signees, whether I'm returning like Paige or completely new to this like Royce Keys, matatakot ako kasi
Yeah.
makita ko na ito yung posibleng treatment sa akin if I don't I can't even get guarantees, diba? Like even if I do well and get over, if something's not clicking, they're not gonna give me that guarantee that they can keep me around, diba? So ang hirap talaga nun, especially when people are hunting for job security nowadays, and there is a major conflict still unfolding, even though it's kind of quieted down a little bit. Dun pa rin siya, diba? Gas prices are still up. Inflation is still looming on the horizon. We're just trying to beat it back, and you do need your job as much as you have it, diba? Uh, I feel that TKO is trying to lowball as many people as they can try to lowball. Parang the honeymoon period is really over now. And if you don't pull your weight in, you're not like a Danhausen who has managed to charm his way into being on TV every week, being on all episodes of TV, Raw and SmackDown, then medyo delikado ka. Like, so we'll talk about it in a little bit, but sige, do you have anything else to add?
I mean,
sige.
it's interesting that that's how you see it. Kasi ako, the way I see it is, yes, you gotta pull your own weight, but also they only have so much time, and it's the
But
same
they also have a
problem.
lot of money.
Diba? I mean, yes, to be sure. Like, pera pa rin yan at the end of the day. But then you're talking about people who've been there through thick and thin. Diba? Kofi Kingston, we dropped the ball, dropped his title to Brock Lesnar just to, he won the title off of Bryan, dropped it to Lesnar just like that, and still stayed with the company. Si Big E, he was champion throughout the pandemic, really stuck with it, diba? See Xavier Woods held down up down down, and when WWE decided to take it from him, he still stayed with up down down. So parang they did everything for the WWE. So for them to get this corporate rug pull is it's pretty sucky. Especially for Kofi, who's not really he's not young. Let's put it that way. Hindi na siya bata, and then he has to start. He's been with the company. He's been with one company his entire career. Right. Same for Adam Copeland, perhaps, for Edge. Same exact deal. So it's going to be interesting to see where he lands in all of this. Because yes, he is still Kofi Kingston, but he's also a much older Kofi Kingston, shall we say.
Yeah. The thing about that is the rosters are deep because the game is so physical that when somebody gets injured, as we're seeing now, pati in AEW, you do need the people who are reliable to slot in and come off the bench to take over for your TV shows. So when you're losing, when you're hemorrhaging a lot of veteran talent like that, wala ka ng reliable. I don't want to call them bench warmers, but they are bench warmers when they're not being in the rotation of the weekly shows, diba? So ganun talaga kahirap yun. I bring the restructuring up because there are also rumors involving Roman Reigns. So we've seen that people have noticed that Roman Reigns has been pulled from being advertised for June shows of Raw. And apparently the reason that Dave Meltzer has been given was that Roman isn't working the Saudi show, Night of Champions, I believe. So there is no reason for him to book any Raw episodes that would build up to the PLE. But there's also another reason, or another rumor rather, that's going around that says Roman is also allegedly being offered this restructured deal that would see him make less. So we'll find out, I guess, this weekend what happens in the title match. Like if Jacob Fatu manages to win the World Heavyweight Championship, then that part of the story or that rumor might hold some water
Oh,
to it.
maybe it. You know what? If it does happen and they lose Roman Reigns, that'd be a major ball drop for
By
TKO.
TKO.
Oh, sobrang laking foul nun, diba? Kasi that's your biggest star and you lose him because you're trying to save a couple of bucks. What are you gonna do, diba? When that happens, diba? Pabagsak
Yeah.
na talaga siya if that happens.
Like, who is your franchise player if you can't even respect
Exactly.
Roman Reigns, diba? With your contract offers. So like John Cena is still is still on the payroll despite not being a wrestler, I guess. So
Do they unretire Cena? Diba? I don't think so. Do they unretire Do they unretire Brock? Do they make do they pay Punk twice as much?
yeah,
Crazy times.
Meltzer is also pointing at Triple H making the calls, diba? Like they don't get released. Nobody gets released if Triple H doesn't say that it's okay to release them, diba? So I don't know how true that is. I don't want to believe it's true, but if it's true, they're all kind of complicit in it. But I would still not trade this for getting Vince McMahon back. Like I would still
No.
have this despite the shittiness of corporate greed. That's how bad it is, actually.
Yeah,
Uh
I don't know.
sorry.
I wouldn't go as far as saying I want Vince back, pero there's got to be a middle ground here. It can't just be this or that, diba? Parang
Yeah. No,
it
yeah, I
just
agree.
it just can't, right? Like you're putting the well-being of the company at risk here because of what? Finances, savings? It's kind of ridiculous at this point.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny because this is the company that TKO bought, diba? Parang
Oh,
you can't assume that you don't need a lot of parts because just to save money, right?
yeah.
This is pretty crazy. Jasper is ranting then here in our private chat here. He says he's gonna lose his shit if they release Carmelo Hayes. And syempre, TKO wants to see your proof of concept, diba? Like if you're pulling in the money or you're pulling in the reactions and the merch like Danhausen, they're gonna keep you around. But once you're not pulling in your weight, yeah, mainit na mata nila mainit na mata nila sa'yo, diba?
Yeah.
Right. Speaking of the releases, so there were more releases, and they were quiet about this. I believe the wrestling media didn't catch this right away, but MFT members Tongaloa and syempre our kababayan, our Kuya Jeff, JC Mateo have been moved to the alumni section over the weekend, and that's why they were not at SmackDown. So the only remaining MFTs are, other than Solo, it's Tamatonga and Talatonga. So interesting. I I feel like people aren't as mad about this because the MFTs were just there and people love to clown Kuya Jeff because of his build and because nobody took him seriously as an
Yeah.
MFT. But hey, it's good for us because obviously Jeff can come back to the Philippines.
Yeah.
He can come back to Japan if he wants to work in Japan. I'm sure there's a job waiting for him at AEW. But yeah, Philippines first. Kasi
Didn't he do AEW? He did,
he
diba?
he did he did. But
Yeah.
syempre, he didn't choose to sign there.
Yeah.
Diba? So, interesting lang. Again, it goes back to the point na why would you sign with WWE when you know that when you know that there's a possibility that they can cut you when they don't like how you
Yeah.
do how you're doing, diba?
This
But
would be like an interesting conversation then to have with Jeff Cobb if and when we do have him back on the
I'm
pod
sure we can have him back. Yeah.
because he's the perfect example of a guy who wasn't really given his fair shake at anything, diba? They just debuted him as this bruiser and then yun na, wala na nangyari. He just became another faceless MFT goon, right? So it'll be interesting to see what the selling point was for him why he
No,
signed in the first place.
I'm sure it's the money. I'm sure
I
it's the
mean,
main
yeah, sure,
possibility.
of course that, but also like creatively, did he see this going anywhere other than being a goon?
I
Because
don't think
it felt like he's pretty expendable at
yeah,
this point.
I didn't feel like he was being offered to be a big, it's a big needle mover in WWE. Parang if if he took that job, it was because there was money and he could be in the US, about like make your money while you still can, about because you're not young anymore. And if the big money company comes calling, go there and make your cash. Like I wouldn't judge Jeff Cobb for making his money. Like a lot of fans don't understand that as a wrestler, you still do need to make the money, the big money. That's what you're putting your body on the line for. It's not always going to be the creative considerations. Like you're not always going to get the contract that says we're going to make you a big single star or a big tag team star. But sometimes you are just being offered the role of a role player, and you take that because it's the real money, the big bucks in our uh I really realistically
Baka
poor industry.
contractual lang, ganun.
Yeah, mga ganun. And contractual mo naman talaga because that's how that's just how it happens in any company. I feel like I'm not gonna talk for him, but I feel like Jeff already had his big creative moments, big fulfilling moments as part of NJPW, as part of Lucha Underground. About like they really made him a big build around star in Lucha Underground, and with the rumors of LU coming back, this is a good time to leave WWE na rin, diba?
I mean, I didn't know about these rumors. So kung bumalik man siya, sana more wrestling to talk about,
I
because
mean, they
diba?
posted a teaser.
Okay, no, I did not see the teaser. Sorry,
Yeah, everybody saw the teaser.
but I am glad that he's actually free of the shackles of the MFTs and the WWE creative, because we can actually see him go back to the way he was beforehand, diba? Eating people and all that in the Indies and in New Japan and wherever he finds himself. So
Yeah.
Talo naman, sayang siya kasi he had the
Tongaloa.
size. Sorry, yeah, Tangaloa pala, sorry. Sayang siya kasi he had the tag team, but I guess, out of all the Sons of Haku, he's the most expendable. With all the
unfortunately.
botches, diba? With all the botches and all the, not being there and all that. So, this was, I don't want to talk bad about the guy, but this is probably a matter of time. It's really, they didn't really do anything with the GOD when they had them, unfortunately. And Tama, buti pa si Tama, he's still there. He's still able to make a name for himself kahit paano.
Yeah, Tama is the stallion of the GODs din naman, of Haku's sons then. So I think there's a lot of plans for him, but syempre, it all depends on what the boss plans to do with you, right?
Yeah.
So swerte na lang. Like, let's see if who else survives by this time next year, right? So yeah,
I mean,
it's gonna
yes, granted talaga na it's inevitable that they'd let people go at certain parts of the year because they can't keep everybody and also still have NXT and also still keep hiring celebrities and legends
for
back.
sure.
Hindi pwede, hindi siya sustainable. Like, we understand that that's the reality of the business and the nature of the industry as it is now. It's allowed the wrestlers to actually find jobs for themselves more so than they did like in the 90s, diba? At least may indies na, at least may other companies na that are stepping up. At least they have that. But what the problem that I personally have here is with how WWE, the biggest company in the world, is treating their stars. And that's not sitting well with me at this point.
Yeah. Interesting. But again, I look forward to watching the New Day and Shemper and Jeff. Well, Tongalo na rin, I guess, wherever they go. Jeff Shemper, more than enough. Kasi he is one of us, right? Okay. Before we talk about the rest of the weekend, marami pa pag-usapan, take a quick Emil Nate dance break and catch our breaths for the
Cause life is a
All right. So marami pa nangyari over the weekend. First things first, or the next thing rather, we want to talk about this interesting or, really poignant moment from the second episode of NWA Power on Comet TV. So we don't talk about NWA Power. We haven't talked about NWA Power since before the pandemic. So that's
It's been
how
a
crazy.
while, yeah.
Yeah. For those who don't or didn't watch the heyday of NWA Power before the pandemic hit, it was pretty much AEW before AEW.
Yeah,
Meaning to
pretty
say
much.
that that era of NWA produced so many stars for both WWE and AEW.
I mean, that's the
That
last stop LA Knight had before it became
yeah,
LA Knight. So
yeah. So that's how must watch that era of NWA was. Credit to Billy Corgan. Unfortunately, the pandemic kind of screwed them over, and WWE and AEW came calling. So hindi na siya big indie stars na rin. You can see some former WWE stars. I believe Damien Sandow, the former Damien Sandow, Aaron Stevens is still there since he arrived nung that time, nung before the pandemic. And one person who arrived at that time as well has now announced his retirement. So Trevor Murdoch, former WWE superstar, former World Tag Team Champion in WWE, and former NWA World Heavyweight Champion, has announced his retirement after 27 years in the game. So I looked him up. He actually started training in 1999. Tapos, he was supposed to retire in 2018, but Billy Corgan called him back because he was calling all the former WWE stars of the Ruthless Aggression era back. So you had the Pope, Elijah Burke, Aaron Sandow, Damien Sandow, Aaron Stevens, uh, dami pa iba.
si Mr.
Uh,
Kennedy yata, di ba? No.
at one point, yeah,
Yeah.
Tyrus, effing
Tyrus.
Tyrus,
Oh my
yeah.
God, who can
Oh my
forget about
god. Yeah.
Tyrus? Yan yung dapat
EC3,
tanggalin.
syempre. So he got Trevor Murdoch back, and then he kind of injected new life into Murdoch. He made him the national champion, and he made him the world's heavyweight champion. He beat Nick Aldis for the world's
Yes.
heavyweight
What a
championship.
rivalry against Nick
Yeah.
Aldis. And he was so
So if you
well,
remember Trevor Murdoch as just the weird trucker guy from who was teaming with Lance Cade, he's actually a pretty decent wrestler. So that's why he became then the world's heavyweight champion in NWA. So he announced his retirement. He said that he didn't want to become a wrestler who was riding too long, who was in the game for too long, and he was just collecting the paychecks kasi matanda na siya. So he didn't want to come to that point. And he said that before he embarrassed anyone, before he embarrassed himself, his family, and si Billy Corgan, he was going to retire. There was a point in that promo where I thought it might have been a work because the ring announcer who was interviewed him was kind of acting or was really overselling his retirement.
right.
Parang super gulat niya, parang parang
Right.
siyang nagproprotesta. So there was a point that told me this might be a work. I think it could be a work, but at the same time, it has been 27 years, so I there is no reason then to believe that they'd be doing a Mark Henry with all of
I
this.
mean, for all we know, it is work, diba? Who are we to say na hindi? Right? For
Sure.
all we know, it just gets us talking about NWA Power.
Yeah, kasi
right?
they just debuted on a new network, diba?
Right? Right? For all we know, yes, congrats sa inyo, NWA. You got us talking about you again. But if it's not, then congrats to Trevor Murdoch on 27 years. Ro mentioned that he did thank Billy Corgan in his speech because Corgan gave him the best years of his wrestling life, diba? Yes, he was with the WWE, but he was a pretty forgettable tag team champion. Let's be honest here. It's really
Sure.
in NWA where he really grew into himself. He had rivalries with all their stars, including Nick Aldis. If there's anything you should watch of Trevor Murdoch's, it's that rivalry against Nick Aldis. Kasi dun mo talaga yung makikita yung everyman appeal niya. Diba? That look that he never really quite captured in the WWE. He was able to capitalize on it in the NWA, and really just what a career he's had. He was able to put 2 kids through college,
Oh yeah,
as he said in his speech. So that's no small feat about being an independent
in the
wrestler that he
US.
was. So in the US especially. So congrats to him on a stellar career, man.
Yeah, so if it is a work, then Then
Congrats,
joke's on us.
NWA again.
Kasi,
Na-work nyo kami.
kasi medyo sus din eh. Kasi it was the second episode on their new network, diba?
Right.
So
Right.
why not have a big story, diba? But yeah, I just want to take the time to comment on how the biggest strength of Billy Corgan's NWA was taking the stars of yesteryear and just giving them a new life, diba?
Yeah.
Like, except for Marty Skrull. So, not him. Pero a bunch of the stars na napag-iwanan na nung WWE when they skew younger,
Yeah.
hire when they hire new guys and fire the mid carders that they had in the mid 2000s and the early 2010s. So uh for Billy Corgan, those are still stars that you can bank on. And to an extent, it kind of worked, diba? Like Nick Aldis was like the biggest of those mid 2000 stars that they had that Billy Corgan had. So as long as people keep getting fired from WWE and AEW and wherever have you, meron pa ring pipeline of talent that Billy Corgan
Yeah.
has.
I mean, it's the same for all these other. I don't want to say B tier, but all these companies in that same level, diba? You have your MLWs,
Sure,
and,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
then your NWAs, diba? People and even Game Changer to a certain
Oh,
extent.
yeah, yeah.
Diba? Kasi lahat sila, they always have somewhere to land. Yun nga, tulad na sinabi ko when we were talking about how people are always going to get released. People have somewhere soft to land now. Unlike when it was in the 90s or 80s or whatever. Diba? So at least that's nice. Billy Corgan's been able to also modernize the studio setting of NWA. Kumbaga, that same, it still has the same look. It's still live interviews, it's still a studio audience, it's still a smaller production, but he's been able to bring that out in 2026, and really it's worth a watch if not for the throwback.
Yep. All right. So I guess we'll see whether this Trevor Murdoch retirement goes anywhere else than it's supposed to. All right, let's go to AEW and NJPW. Maraming pag-uusapan din. First of all, the Guns are back. Colton Gunn is back from injury. So I guess that's another tag team added to what was already a stacked tag team division on AEW.
Yeah, so good to see the Guns back. Also interesting, they brought them back, saving sila Jay White. So I guess the Bang Bang Scissor Gang is back.
Yeah, Jay White is the only one who is still not cleared to compete. So, if you've been waiting for the Switchblade, abang-abang pa kayo. And send him some recovery dust. All right, then over on NJPW, this still involves AEW talent. Andrade El Idolo won the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship against Yota Tsuji. So Yota Tsuji, who started this year as a double champion, has no more belts. And interestingly, the most interesting part about this is not the fact that Andrade won a championship in NJPW after 13 years. His last was the Intercontinental Championship as La Sombra. He won it from Nakamura, but Andrade specifically turned face in Japan. So he said that both AEW and NJPW are in his blood, and syempre he invited all challengers to come and face him for the championship, just name a time and place. But this seemingly was the culmination of his the teasing of his face run of a face turn while he was with the Don Callis family. So if you remember, he didn't want to do MJF's dirty work in beating down Darby Allin for him. So so really interesting stuff. I think it's gonna point toward Andrade leaving the Don Callis family sooner or later, especially after Konosuke Takeshita wraps up his story with Okada. Do you have anything to say about Andrade's win?
Yeah, congrats to Andrade, man. He was long overdue for a big win here, especially since his return to AEW. A lot of people have been clowning him for taking pictures with OF models. Pero now he's been
It's a great gimmick, though.
Oh, it's a great gimmick. No, for sure, it's a great gimmick, diba? But people are people, and they clown on anything. So the fact that they gave him this big history making career win in his career good. Congrats to him. And I did not catch the promo. I did not catch this match at all.
It was a
But
quick promo. Anyway, yeah.
hearing him do a face turn, it's long overdue for him. I think.
Jace brings up a funny point here. Suji lost out of the championship to another AEW, to an AEW champ, to an AEW star, kasi he was complaining about the AEW and JPW partnership. So that is pretty ironic. Then I don't know how wise it was to have Suji lose the championship, especially it wasn't the top championship. But it was a nice moment for Andrade, who really did need a win after a pretty rough 2025. Okay, next up from NJPW as well, Sanada is back. He was a weird masked guy who was hanging around NJPW since Sakura Genesis last month, and he attacked Konosuke Takeshita, who also joined the main unit of NJPW. So he's also pretty much cemented his face turn, and now Sanada is going after the NJPW Television Championship. So they get another big name back, especially after a lot of big names left NJPW. Syempre, you've seen Evil join WWE. Hiromu leave NJPW. Marami rin nawala. So good on them for getting Sanada back. I just don't know if he's gonna move the needle. All right.
Yeah, medyo ano siya, diba? Medyo mid-card.
Yeah, he went back to the mid card after his failed main event run. So there's that.
It's interesting. I mean, Takeshita is a main event guy, so maybe it helps them. I don't know.
Yeah, he's not a main event guy in NJPW just yet, but yeah, makes sense then.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to AAA. Interestingly,
the best story in the wrestling.
Yeah, the best story in the WWE umbrella as well. El Grande Americanos take it up a notch. First, they signed the contract, so bawal silang mag-away-away in physically. So second,
so the caveat is if either of them hits each other, the match is off, diba? Or
yep,
diba? Yeah.
Yeah, and the second condition that the original laid out was that Andrea Bazarte, the presenter for AAA, Hermana de Pinpon, she does the Pinpon segments that you see on social media, she has to leave. So they kind of hard launched, and El Grande too hard launched their relationship on AAA TV.
So sa mga nagtatanong kung break na si Teffi tsaka si Ludwig, that's your answer.
They are TV official here. So she has to leave, and Andrea says that if this is what it takes for you to destroy and take the mask off of El Grande Americano 1, then she will do it. She will put El Grande Americano 2 above their love.
Yeah.
Really, really hard-hitting telenovela stuff.
I love
it makes sense that it makes sense that they hard launched the relationship. Because this is Mexico, this is the land of telenovelas.
Yeah, this is where telenovelas come from. And you guys know, I love a good telenovela, teleserie storyline. And if this is what it takes to really sell this match, then go for it, man. All out for this one.
Sobrang benta.
Sobrang like like what the fuck? Did this really happen? And then I just started clapping.
It did happen.
I was watching it.
And the third point in the story, the third development, is the Creed brothers have joined the original El Grande Americano. Syempre, in kayfabe, there is no link, other than the fact that the Creed brothers know that the original is Chad Gable.
Right.
But syempre, the babyface should not have the numbers advantage here. So tama lang din na nabigyan ng pagkakataon ng Creed brothers to work.
I think if anything, this story is just serviced better in AAA. Diba? Kasi at least you're really sure who to cheer for here.
Yeah.
And it isn't as as split down the middle with EGA2 here. Diba? So at least now you know that he's the face, and you know that Chad Gable or the original El Grande Americano, he's the heel. It's clear. So at least kahit pa paano, now he has goons to back him up.
Yep.
Diba? Although the story explanation still needs to happen because it's all working off of Diba? Yeah, it's all working off of assumptions at this point. Diba? We assume that it's Chad Gable.
I mean,
Therefore,
we
the
know
thing
it's
is,
Chad
I
Gable,
mean,
and
yes,
everybody
pero
knows.
diba?
Everybody in the universe also knows it's Chad
I
Gable.
mean, yes, diba? Pero we still need like an in-story explanation for
I
it.
don't
Diba?
know. I think they're not insulting your intelligence because they know you know, and they know that everyone in the WWE on-screen universe knows that El Grande Americano
Fair.
original
Fair.
is Chad
Oh,
Gable.
it's a lot.
Uh,
It's just a lot of assumptions at this point.
I don't know. Normally it would be, but I don't think this is an assumption because they are banking that it's
Right.
obvious that it's
It's
Chad
Chad
Gable.
Gable and it's
Yeah,
Ludwig and it's Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. Yeah, okay.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jace asks, sige, that's it for El Grande Americano talk. Jace asks if matagal na bang heel si Laredo Kid. They have been building that story up since the TJP
Yeah.
thing. So it's been a slow burn over the past month. So I think it was a couple of weeks ago that Laredo Kid became a dick in person. All right. Who is your candidate for AAA general manager, by the way? I thought it was going to be Dorian Pena because he administered the contract signing, but apparently not.
I actually thought it was Dorian Pena too, pero now I don't know.
Guess not.
Yeah. Actually, I thought it was yeah, Dorian Pena, the manager,
Yeah, yeah. El Ojo.
yeah. So now that it's not him, I really don't. Probably one of the older
JBL.
guys. JBL Puente. Honestly, JBL Puente. I think if we're going out on a limb here, probably Rey Mysterio. Why not?
Sure. Actually, yeah, that makes sense.
Oh.
I wouldn't be opposed
Yeah,
to a
I
Rey
mean, kasi
Mysterio.
nandun din siya, diba? And all he has to do is pop up once in a while, diba? Do his
Yeah.
GM thing, and then go off the Raw again.
All right, let's go over to SmackDown before we get out of here. Syempre, we have a couple of points here. First, Gunther attacks Cody Rhodes and declares himself the new, wordlessly declares himself the new number one contender to the WWE Championship. I don't have any particular thoughts about this other than I guess they were running out of challengers for Cody.
Yeah, he made the jump. Gunther made the jump to SmackDown. I guess they were part of that soft draft era
Yeah,
post WrestleMania.
I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, I get. So it's nice to see him. I hope he's the guy. Take it from Cody now. I think this is it. I hope this is the guy to take it from Cody because we've gotten stale with the Cody Rhodes title run at this point, especially post WrestleMania.
Yeah, it's very clear in the end that he's the number 2 champion, which is sad because he was supposed to be the number 1 champion when he won.
Exactly. And then Pat McAfee happened. So
Yep. Next, Sami Zayn officially cemented his heel turn. Nothing changed except for the commentators and how they approached Sami. So, play-by-play guy Joe Tessitore pretty much cemented Sami's heel status by being visibly and vocally disappointed with Sami's actions. So, interesting thing, Sami is the one who is getting rid of the stupid gingerbread man, but he is the heel and he's getting booed. What do you think about this?
Nakakatawa lang na una-una they tried to do a double turn. They kind of successfully did that, but they didn't really establish that Sami was the heel. Basta establish pa nila the Trick was the face.
Yeah.
Diba? So now it's a little belated, I guess, to have this happen. But I mean, it still works. People still booing Sami regardless, right? So
yeah.
So I guess it still works though, even though it was a little late to the party.
Yeah. No, I think okay na rin that they pivoted. Previous administrations would have Sami continue being a babyface on paper while getting booed. About like Vince would have. This is exactly what happened to John Cena, and Vince kept John Cena face. This was happening to Sami, and they made him heel officially. And that's how you know. And he ducked Trick Williams, so now that's how you know visibly that he is a heel.
Yeah.
So there's that. Danhausen gets his first PLE match. He has to find a partner to go up against The Miz and Kit Wilson. The Miz faked being his mentor. I don't know why Danhausen wants The Miz as his mentor, but he does. And now they have to find a tag team partner for him. And I like this because it gives Kit Wilson a match on PLE.
Yeah. Yeah, no, first of all, congrats to Kit Wilson getting a PLE match and the Miz and that house, and of course. The partners thing is interesting. I don't really have a smart choice for this. But if you were really gonna go out, you know, it might be time to debut a new guy for this one. Pero probably not. They probably just stick with Royce Keys or
Yeah.
something, you know?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know then who would partner with Danhausen. All right. Lastly, Rhea Ripley joins forces with Charlotte and Alexa Bliss against Fatal Influence because they are looking. It's a 6-woman feud here. They are playing the whole can they coexist thing with the faces. This doesn't really interest me so much, but I guess it's good that the Fatal Influence is getting a big story then.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, if this ends up with Fatal Influence getting a win, then it's a landmark win for them.
For sure.
Diba? Kasi it's 3 former world champions, former everything champions. So, you know, I think this is just the right move for them. I mean, plus the infighting, if anything, will allow them to, you know, get the upper hand. Kasi, diba, mas solid silang unit and all that.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess sana hindi mag-deteriorate yung position ng Fatal Influence the way so many others have then. But also there's Kiana James getting pushed over Julia. They're clearly setting up a Kiana James push here and kind of discarding Julia in the wayside.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. If anything, and this is just no disrespect to Julia. I love her. I am a fan. But at this rate, if she still doesn't get released with how they've been treating her, parang disservice na din sa kanya and she should just find greener pastures elsewhere.
Yep.
Diba? Kasi parang hindi siya ginagamit ng maayos. She's not being booked right. So why is she still there? Just to fill seat?
True. Yeah, for Triple H to try and make something out of her, diba? To make the most of his signing. I say right now, Stephanie Vaquer was who paid the dividends for his big women's signings from 2024.
And it's not like Julia wasn't trying. She fucking learned English. Diba? She is trying. So
yeah,
parang it's just unfortunate to see such a hotly booked star to just be, you know, be relegated like that.
Yeah, that's sad. It is a sad truth.
Yeah.
All right, that is it for our weekend reacts. A lot of things happened in Davinigado. We kind of still went along. We still kind of went long here.
So almost an hour. So
almost an hour, yeah. So when I'm in talaga nangyari, and that's crazy. All right, before we get out of here, Chino, do you have any plugs for this week?
Yeah, this weekend is the first ever show at Binondo for stand-up comedy. May 9, Ramada Manila Central. Tickets are still available, comedymanila.ph. It's myself, it's Stanley Chi, it's Anthony, and it's going to be a good time in Ramada Manila Central. So come on by, guys. Again, comedymanila.ph for all your tickets.
Yeah, and I believe tickets are still available to Dakila 2. Standing room tickets are now available. Dexcon at helixplay.ph. And Baka Gaijin Manila 2 is still available then. Go check that out. Go use my code DEXCONROM, DXCNROM, when you check out for purchases that are at least 1,500 pesos. Go check that out. Guys, you don't want to miss the opportunity to see Chris Brooks and Zack Sabre Jr., especially Zack, as he is taking time off NJPW this month, as he always does. Di mo alam kung kailan mo siya makita ulit. So go check that out while you still can. All right. Thank you, Jasper, for another episode. This has been another episode, another live stream. Thanks for making us sound great. If you want to continue the conversation, it's at Wrestling2X Pod on Twitter, Blue Sky, and TikTok, at Wrestling Podcast, and Instagram, Threads, and Facebook. For Chino, it's at Chino Supersize, at _Stan C for Stan, at Monday Night Rowan for Rowan, and at EML_Meister for Emil. For myself, it is at Shang.Daddy on Threads and Instagram and TikTok, and at Rose War on Twitter. All right. Till then, until Thursday, ano ba, Jasper, may live stream ba tayo on Thursday? Will you commit Di natin sure. Okay,
Yeah, it
so
might be cursed. He doesn't
yeah,
know.
so let's hope that Jasper's Thursday isn't cursed. All right, and we might see you. We might not see you, or we might see you on Thursday for a live stream. If not, syempre we'll always have the Friday audio only episode. Right? For Chino and for our co-hosts who are not here, this has been Ro. This has been another episode of the Wrestling Podcast. Stay safe, stay cool, stay hydrated. Mainit na ulit. And don't be a dick. Wrestling Podcast out. Peace.